hello, hello, beautiful friends. It is 2023. Happy New Year. Thank you so much to all of you who followed me during Vlogmas, left comments, liked my videos, gave me suggestions. I truly, truly appreciated you guys spending a few minutes with me every day, and the fact that I know that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of other knitting and crocheting YouTubers you could have watched, and you chose my channel. So I truly appreciate you all, and I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful holiday season, no matter what holiday you were celebrating. And I hope 2023 brings you health and happiness in abundance. So my name is Dorothy, and this is the Knit, Knot, and Weave podcast. It's basically a video diary of everything that I make that is fiber related. It's usually knitting, sometimes crocheting, sometimes weaving, occasionally a little yarn dyeing. But this episode is just going to be a recap of things that I have knit in 2022 and my plans, hopefully, for 2023. So you can follow me on Instagram. I do post on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Knit, Knot, and Weave. So go ahead and give me a follow. You can see all my projects up on Ravelry if you can access Ravelry. And my name on Ravelry is Phelia, Pheelya. I know not everybody has access to Ravelry, so like I said, you can always follow me on Instagram and you'll see my projects posted there as well. I am getting better at Instagram now. So let's get started. Grab yourself a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, a cup of something with maybe a little bit something extra. Grab your knitting or your crocheting and let's get started. So I actually have a cup of tea with me, and no, I have not put away my Grinch mug yet. And the tea that I am drinking is from a coworker. She gave me a nice little sampler set for the holidays, and it is called Cup of Life, and it is the flavor cranberry and ginger. And it is very, very yummy. So in total, I worked on 130 projects this year. 30 of them were cranked hats on the Addy machine. I finished 41 hats in total. 37 of them were donated to a local Title I school. My knitting group every year chooses a Title I school, and we knit hats or crochet hats all year long. We gather them up. I can speak today. We gather them up and we drop them off at the school sometime between November and December. And then they hand them out to the kids. I completed 16 pairs of socks this year. I'm very proud of myself for that. Feel like I'm starting to get my sock mojo back. I don't think I will ever be up to the caliber of Lisa, Maddie, and Kay, who knit, somewhere between 30 and 70 pairs of socks in a year. That is Lisa from Knit All the Yarn, Maddie from We Share Needles, and Kay from The Crazy Sock Lady. I completed 7 shawls, 2 sweaters, 1 blanket, 3 pillows, 30 individual dishcloths, and 20 individual scrubbies. Weirdly enough, I did no weaving last year, and I made no cowls, which is unusual for me. I don't know what happened. But in total, I used 27,840 yards of yarn. Gone. I think it's a little bit less than what I'm used to for a yearly total, but I'm okay with that. Things happen, right? As they say, life happens when you're making plans, right? So I would say my favorite makes for 2022 is definitely this cozy shawl. There is no pattern for this. I just sort of grabbed, it's made out of Cascade 220 Superwash. It was used from the leftover yarn from my blanket that I finished. And I just sort of grabbed different colors. And as I finished one color, I'd grab the next color that went with it and just sort of created various stitches, did some striping, and then did with 3x1 ribbing at the edge and cast it off. And I love it. I grab this every morning when I get out of bed because I like my house cold at night. I find that I sleep much better in the cold. So when I get up in the morning, it is a tad chilly. And so this is the first thing I grab when I get up in the morning. And I can't get comfortable again. And it is what I grab in the evenings when I'm finally done with whatever I'm doing and I get to sit on my couch and knit and rest and watch whatever I'm watching. And my second favorite project would have to be the Soft Waves blanket that I finally finished. And I will put a picture of it up here. Unfortunately, now that I am finished with that blanket, I have recently found out that Cascade Superwash 220 can pill like a bitch when you wash it. So I have not washed. I've blocked it. It's blocked, but it has not gone through a washing. I figure I will probably test it out first with this shawl, and then I'll cry if anything happens to the shawl. But yeah, so that is my 2022. What have I learned about myself through my crafting this year? I've learned that I really missed doing crocheting. I have not done a whole lot of crochet in the past. Crochet was actually my first fiber addiction. I learned both crocheting and knitting young. My grandmother tried to teach me, but I was left-handed, she was right-handed, and it didn't work out so well. But apparently there was some muscle, I don't know if it was muscle memory or if my brain just stored away that information and brought it back out. And when I was 19, I picked up some yarn, some crochet hooks, learn how to crochet manual, because this was before YouTube. And I went home and I started making blankets. So I basically made just blankets and shawls. I didn't know how to make anything else. And I wasn't that confident in my skills to even attempt to make a hat or a garment of any kind. So it was mainly blankets and scarves. And then I found knitting, and knitting sort of took over for a number of years. And I'm starting to get back into crochet, and I have several big crochet projects on the go right now. But anywho, let's start with my, let me finish. I didn't finish. What else did I learn about myself? So I have learned that I should never podcast without having my notes in front of me. I have realized over the last, not during Vlogmas, I don't do notes at Vlogmas, but the last couple of podcasts that I actually recorded, I realized as I was editing them, that I had forgotten to share certain things with you guys. And no matter how much I seem to prepare, I have, my projects around me, my acquisitions around me, anything I wanted to show you guys, around me. And yet I forgot to share some things. So, anywho, I do need to keep my podcasting notes in front of me. So, if you see me looking down, it's because I am looking at my podcast notes, which I have in this lovely knitting notebook. And it's from Yellow Paper House. And it's got lovely colored paper too. So, anyway. What else did I learn about me? I've learned that despite the fact that I keep saying I have no inclination to learn how to spin, I think I do. I think I want to learn on the spinning wheel. I don't think drop spindle is the thing for me. And I think that's why I got turned off to spinning. So anyhow, I realized that my local weaving guild, the Greater Weaving Guild of the Weaving Guild of Greater Baltimore, something like that, they actually rent out equipment. So I'm thinking I might rent out the spinning wheel that is on their equipment list and see what happens. So let's move on to plans for 2023. Have you guys made any goals or plans for 2023? We're not making resolutions. Resolutions get broken. We all know that. So one of the things I am doing this year is I am participating in the Cocktail Hour at the Coops New to You Mal. And this is a mal that's running from January 1st to February 14th. And it is just trying something new related to fibers, be it dyeing, tie-dyeing. If you've never done cables and you want to learn how to do cables, you want to try a new cast on or new cast off or whatever. So far I have I can speak today. So far for the New to You Mal, I have done the crochet cast on to make a hat, to make a double brimmed hat that, once you've got the length, you fold it over and then you undo the crocheting and you put all those stitches on another knitting needle, and then you knit the next round. You knit both of them together so that you have a nice thick double brim. Then I learned the Italian provisional cast on, which is very nice. It makes it so that the edge of the hat doesn't really have an edging. It looks like the stitches just sort of curl around. It's very, very nice. What else did I try? Oh, I tried Norwegian purling. I did that when I got to the rim of my Desert Vista Dye Work socks. My cuff. Oh. So that was fun. I am planning to crochet I am planning to do a Tunisian crochet shawl. I bought this book. It's called the Tunisian Crochet Handbook, and it's by Toni Lipsy. She has a fabulous podcast, and a great website where she has most of her patterns up. I've watched several of her videos on how to do Tunisian crochets where she walks you through some of her patterns. And I find her to be very informative, very well. She explains things very well as she's showing them to you. So I am planning to knit her Lemira wrap, and I will put a picture of it up here. It's an Aran weight wrap, and it uses 2 different Tunisian crochet stitches. As you can see, it almost looks like a border, but it's all crocheted at one time. But I don't know which yarn to use. I'm torn between 3 different yarns from my stash, because one of my goals this year is to knit more from my stash. So I have 3 possibilities in my stash right now. I have this lovely, I know it needs to be rewound up, but I have this lovely orangey color. This is from, this is from the Knitting Boutique. It's their Anacostia 100% merino. And I have 2 skeins of this, which is supposed to be enough to make her Lemire wrap. Or I have enough in this Sublime Decay, which is a merino silk Aran, in this beautiful pink color. Or I have some Malabrigo, and this is their original Malabrigo worsted. So it's the single ply in this red and pink mix. So I haven't decided which one of those I will be using. If you have a thought, let me know in the comments. And the last thing I'm planning to try is counted cross stitch. I had done stamped cross stitch many years ago when my niece was a baby, and she is now 25. But I've never attempted counted cross stitch. So I have a little, I think it's going to be about maybe 4 or 5 inches around. And it's just, you know, a couple of flowers with a little saying, but I'm going to attempt counted cross stitch. So those are my items for the New to You Mal for the Cocktail Hour at the Coop Mal. I also joined a couple of test knits. I know, what was I thinking? I am test knitting 2 shawls and 1 sweater. Luckily, they're all due at different times. 1 shawl is due February 7th. 1 shawl is due February 17th. And the sweater, we don't officially start and get the pattern for until January 17th. And I think we have 5 weeks for the sweater, which is good because I know I said I was trying to knit more from my stash, but I don't have a whole lot of mohair in my stash. And this sweater calls for quite an amount of mohair because we're holding 2 strands of mohair plus a fingering together. And I can't show you any of that yet. But for one of the shawls, it's a 2-color worsted weight shawl. So I am thinking of using this Blue Sky Surrey Merino. And I think this is going to make a very luscious, warm shawl. And then the other shawl is, the title of it is Beam Me Up. So of course I've got all visions of aliens. So I knew I had this skein of Miss Babs in my stash. And I thought this would be perfect for it. The problem is I don't know what color to put with it. Normally I would say black, but black is always my go-to. I was actually thinking that maybe something in this dark blue would work, but I don't have any. But what I do have is I have a skein of this Miss Babs, which has hardly any dye on it at all. And I might over dye this with a dark navy. What do you think? If you picture that together, this being dark navy, I think that might work. So we'll see. We'll see what I decide. And I can't share the yarn for the sweater yet because I don't have it all. But I'm looking forward to it. The pattern is gorgeous, which is obviously why I asked to be a test knitter for her. And I can't. I found her on Instagram. She had put out a call for test knitters. For the life of me, I can't remember her name. I know, that's so horrible of me. I should have had that in my show notes. So goals that I have for myself this year. I am really, really going to attempt to finish at least my granny striped blanket. I would love if I could get my granny striped blanket and my linen stitch marled blanket finished this year. That would be wonderful. That would be 2 nice projects completed. Second goal is for me to knit more from my stash this year. I did a whole lot of purchasing last year, and I have quite a number of sweater quantities in my stash now. So I really think I need to focus on knitting from my stash, which is very hard to do when you watch other podcasters. Especially podcasters that don't live in your area, because they always introduce you to new yarns. As I'm sure some of you, if you don't live in the Columbia, Maryland area, some of the yarns I show you are probably new to you. I have decided I'm going to start my Christmas gift knitting, crocheting early this year. I would like to have if I'm knitting an item, I would like to have them all completed by Thanksgiving. I want Christmas knitting done by Christmas knitting, Christmas crocheting, Christmas weaving, whatever, done by Thanksgiving, because I felt very rushed in December, and I do this to myself every year. So I'm going to start earlier because I want December to be relaxing. I want December to be for me, to knit for myself, to knit things I want to knit with. I don't want to be rushing to finish gifts. I am aiming to knit 12 pairs of socks for myself this year. I'm possibly going to try and knit a pair of socks for almost everyone in my family. And I say almost because my older sister can't stand socks. She feels like they crush her toes. I don't understand, but she doesn't like socks. And that's it. So that means a whole lot of extra socks too, but I am hoping to get at least 12 pairs for myself. But I have knit a pair from my younger niece, but she's probably going to get those for her birthday, which is in March. I will continue making hats for donation. I'm also probably going to throw some scarves in there this year, along with my knitting group. I know I say a lot. I apologize. I should know better, especially since I took public speaking in high school, which is how I know you're not supposed to say all the time. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit the table. So along with making the donation hats that we give to Title I schools, I would like to make some hats and scarves that I am donating to Knit the Rainbow in New York City, which is an organization that helps homeless LGBTQIA youth in the area. I think it's a real shame that we even have something like this. I don't understand how a parent could basically throw away a child just because they're gay or they're lesbian or whatever. But that's neither here nor there. I will be knitting and supporting them in any way that I can because I think it is a wonderful, wonderful organization. I would like to weave more this year. I have plans to make some scarves and some tea towels at least. And I will be knitting some baby items this year because my assistant is expecting twin grandbabies. So I don't know if her daughter-in-law is going to find out the sex of the child or not. But when the parents don't, I usually stick to Dr. Seuss colorways. I don't know why. That's just what I did. Black, white, turquoise, and red. I am thinking of making them a thing 1 and thing 2 hat. I think that'll be cute. I will most likely make them blankets and maybe a baby vertebra cardigan to keep them nice and warm. Oh, maybe some of those baby mitts too, the ones that don't need thumbs. Ooh, I have to remember that. So as for some of the patterns that I would like to knit in 2023, I definitely want to knit the Big Cozy Cardigan by Andrea Mowry. I actually purchased the yarn for that at Woolen Folk, but I knew I wouldn't be able to cast it on till the new year. So my main colorway is Get My Soul Free, which is from Skydance, the Brooklyn General Store. And the Odang Suri colorway is Namoo. At least I hope that's what it was called. Namoo. Namoo. And I think those are going to look very lovely together. Let's see. I also would like to knit the Tulip Sweater by Melody Huffman. I was hoping to knit it in Nutiden, but I can't seem to catch any updates for Nutiden. And their Patreon memberships were all full last time I checked. So I went ahead and this was back in December. I ordered Manchalope, which is a yarn. It is an unspun yarn that is plated. It's doubled up when it's in a plate. I think the yarn or the sheep is from Spain. And I bought the icy blue colorway, which is very, very light. And I don't know if I'm going to hold that with merino. Not merino. What am I saying? I don't know if I'm going to hold that with mohair or with the brushed Suri alpaca for the tulip sweater. So I have the yarn for that. At least I have the Manchalope. I have some Suri alpaca down in my stash. So it may just wind up being Suri alpaca that I knit it with. And then I'm also thinking of knitting up the Calliope by Espace Tricot. It's all of their patterns are free and they're very nice patterns. So I am hoping to knit that sweater. I'm probably going to use maybe some of my own hand dyed. I have to see if I have enough in a sweater's quantity or not. I am hoping to knit the Autumn League pullover by Alexandra Tavel. Here I go again with the ums. I saw Aquila from the Lefty Knitter podcast knit one, and I really, really liked the style. It looked simple, classic, just a little detailing around the collar. And I think I have yarn for that. I can't remember. The other sweater, one other sweater I also am planning to knit this year is the Nordiska by Caitlin Hunter. That would be my first colorwork sweater. And the reason why I picked that one is because the colorwork is at the bottom. I have not made any yoke style sweaters. I believe the Calliope is going to be the first one. Yeah, because the tulip sweater is, I believe it's a raglan. So I don't know how a yoke sweater would work on me because I am a rather chesty, and so I don't know if it's going to cause me to have too much fabric under my arms because I need to increase it so much. I haven't played with that yet, so I'm looking at the Nordiska as my first colorwork sweater. And then I do want to knit the Anthology Throw by Helen Stewart. I have yarn for that. I purchased an Advent back in December. It was not a surprise Advent for me. I saw, oh boy, I did not take good notes. I saw the Advent on a podcast that it was a new to me podcast that I was flipping through, and she was just opening them all. And it's a fade Advent. So it's 25 colors that work into a fade. And it starts at like a pinkish purple, and it goes all the way through a gradient, and it looked stunning, and it went all the way through to like dark greens and dark blues. And then you could also add on a full skein, which was like a burgundy-ish color. So I think that is the Advent that I am going to use for the Anthology Throw. I think it's going to look stunning as it fades out. And from what I saw on the podcast, the fade was done really, really well. Okay, so I looked it up. The podcast that I caught it on is Megan's Moons, and the yarn company is Mystic Fiber Company. So I guess she decided to re-dye and offer up the Advent, but without all the extras, and the Advents would not be, hidden in gift bags. So she did a re-dye, and it was called Be Blessed Holiday Mini Skein Collection. And it says, yes, I have my other computer under here. This year's holiday mini skein set, Be Blessed, will be inspired by wonderful witchy things, nature intentions, and thoughtfulness. The yarn will be presented in a fade gradient. So I should be getting that yarn by the end of this month. So I am super, super excited about that. And that is all that I truly have planned for next year. Am I going to stick to that? Who knows? Who knows? I would like to knit those things, but I have, I have a list. I have a list of probably 20 sweaters that I would love to cast on tomorrow. I have 2 sweaters that I still have to finish. But I will go with the flow. I'm sure other projects will come about as I watch other podcasters and designers, put out more designs. But who knows? Anyway, let's go ahead and pull the winner for the Freckled Whimsy Advent Skein. So I have learned how to record on my phone. So I will insert a clip here as I use the random comment picker to pick a winner. Okay, friends, I have figured out how to record my screen on my phone since I use my phone for recording. So here we are at the YouTube random comment picker, where you're going to do the drawing for the Freckled Whimsy skein. So I'm going to put in the web address, get YouTube comments. We have 14 comments. We're going to filter out duplicates, filter for specific text, and that would be Freckled Whimsy. Number of winners 1. Start raffle. Let's see, how does this work? Start. The winner is Alexis Blokus. I hope I said that right. Congratulations on the milestone of getting 100 subscribers. I have never heard of Freckled Whimsy yarns, but would love to try it. Okay, Alexis, if you would, please send me an email to knitnotandweave@gmail.com. My email address is also in the comments below. So congratulations to Alexa. Alexa, if you are watching this, please send me an email. Again, that is to knitnotandweave@gmail.com. Send me your snail mail address so I can get this skein of yarn out to you. And I hope you enjoy it. That is all that I have for you guys today. I know, a rather short episode. I will be back in 2 weeks, maybe less, with everything that I have knit since Vlogmas to share with you guys. I have a few acquisitions that came in before I made my vow to use more of my stash. Oh, I do have some happy mail to share with you guys. So one piece of happy mail was actually hand delivered to my house. It was from my friend Karen. It's this beautiful, beautiful skein of Knitwit sock yarn. It is called Burnout. It is 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon. So this will probably be turned into either socks or a lovely, lovely little shawl. So thank you so much, Karen. I love it. And the other one was from a viewer. And unfortunately, she did not, or he did not, or they did not sign the card. So I don't know who this is from, but if you are watching, I truly, truly appreciate this. from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. I love it. I absolutely love it. So one thing that was in the package, she must have heard how much I love the Grinch. But a Grinch gnome, and it says Merry Grinchmas. Is that not adorable? I love it. I absolutely love him. And the second thing that was in the package, which I'm floored, is the 2023 Two Sheeps Yarn Calendar. This, if you've watched Kevin and Ray at Needles at the Ready, they have shared this calendar. I had entered the drawing to win it, but I did not. But I now have a copy myself. Thank you so much to whoever my gift giver is. And every month this calendar has a yarn, a design that they display, and I believe, let me just check. I'm not quite sure, but I think that the yarns and patterns go on sale for the month that they're shown in. I'm not quite sure, but I love it. I needed a yarn calendar. Actually, I just needed a new 2023 calendar. So anyway, I would love to hear what your knitting goals are, or what new things you would like to try this year, be it knitting, crocheting, weaving, whatever. Are you participating in the Cocktail Hour at the Coop new to you, Mal? Let me know in the comments below if you have made it this far in my podcast. I truly, truly appreciate it. Go ahead and put a little star emoji in your comments to let me know that you've watched the whole episode. I appreciate that. Please, please, if you enjoyed this, like, comment, share, subscribe to my channel. It really does help my channel grow. And I wish you all the very, very best for 2023. Ciao, ciao.